This week on Let's Talk Schools, hear how we are preparing all students for college and career readiness to give them the tools for the future they desire. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Schools. I'm Mike Looney, the host of the show, and have the good fortune of being the superintendent of schools here in Fulton County. Today, we're going to be talking about one of our very impactful programs, AVID. AVID is a student program that we have at the elementary, middle, and high school level. And we have two local experts here today to talk us through AVID, what it is, the history of it, and how impactful it has been in our schools. So, Maggie, I'm going to start with you. If you could please introduce yourself, tell us where you work and why you're here.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Maggie Nelms. I am the AVID coordinator and elective teacher at Crabapple Middle School, and I have been at Crabapple since I was fresh out of college. It's my home. Love that school so much, and I have the honor of starting the AVID program in 2019, and this is our 6th year, and it has just changed our school tremendously, and I love teaching it.
So you're in the classroom, you're in the trenches, and making it happen every single day. Thank you so much for your work. Now, Dr. Awak, you're the leader of one of our high schools. Tell us about yourself and how AVID fits into your program at Creekside High School.
I'm principal at Creekside High School. We are a national site of distinction school-wide, and we're also an emerging demo school this year. And so AVID has been really impactful for us. Right now, we're serving about 15% of our school population through AVID. AVID is really about teaching kids how they learn, teaching them how to persevere. We want our students to be successful in college and career, and that's what AVID is about.
All right. So what does AVID stand for? AVID? Tell me what it actually stands for.
AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination.
Advancement via Individual Determination.
Yes.
Okay. And so when a student gets to choose to participate in AVID, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And for us, typically students, like you said, elementary and middle school. So students have taken the courses before and they usually continue to matriculate. But we also have a lot of students who will come in 9th grade and they'll opt into AVID in the 10th grade.
So let's start with the middle school level because they're going to come to you. So Maggie, what does AVID look like to a student at Crabapple Middle School? What does that mean? I'm in AVID. Is that a class?
Yes.
Okay.
So AVID is a connections course. Students apply in their 6th grade year to begin 7th grade year, and they are making a 2-year commitment. So they're with me for 7th and 8th grade, and they come to class every day, just like another elective or connections course that they would take. And the curriculum grows. It's a foundational level of transitioning to high school, but it grows year after year to prepare them for each step of that journey to high school.
So what kinds of things are you teaching them in this elective or connections course?
Okay. So AVID is a skills-based course, but it's based off of an acronym called WICOR, W-I-C-O-R. And WICOR stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. And so through the AVID College and Career Framework, we find that research has told us that these 5 skill sets are what students need to be successful in their current level of education, but also to be prepared for college, to be ready and successful, whether it's a 2-year college, 4-year college, or even a trade school. AVID is for every student. The skills are life skills that we need to be successful learners and to build that confidence so that they have basically a toolbox to be successful in the most rigorous course to a course that comes easy to them, but they can tap into those skills and be.
I would have benefited from AVID when I was in middle school, or we had junior high school back then. Dr. Awak, are you seeing a change in students that at the high school level that participate in AVID and their performance at school?
Of course. Last year's graduation, my valedictorian, my Page Star student, both AVID students, and they're both at Georgia Tech. So AVID students, they achieve, they persist in college, they complete. The average GPA for our AVID students over the last decade has been a 3.5. So AVID students are doing well. In that tools class that she spoke about, we focus on rigorous academic preparedness. We focus on opportunity knowledge, We talked earlier about you talking about your career. We bring people in so that students learn, so that they can make informed choices about what they really want to do after they leave high school. But most importantly, you touched on this, is student agency. Those are the soft skills that aren't always explicitly taught in classes, but we know they're important for students to succeed in whatever they choose to do.
So does AVID at the high school look similarly to the middle school in that it's an elective course?
Yes.
Series of elective courses?
Yes.
And so how many courses are students in AVID taking at the high school level?
They take one AVID tools class each year.
Okay. So they take a total of four?
A total of four.
Four. And they build on one another?
Yes, they do. And they build in skills. So Maggie will probably talk to you about tutorials, which is like an exceptional thing. In middle school, that builds, the skills continue to build in high school, the expectations around that. So if you visit one of our AVID tools classrooms, you'll see students in a peer tutorial. And that looks like a student who's identified a point of confusion, and then they're going to use a Socratic dialogue to then help that student figure out, using resources, what are the next steps. So student agency is very important. I know for me as an engineer, I was in a study group, right? We all were. And these are the skills you're not taught in school. But you need to know how to get with your peers and to review your notes, decide what the next steps are, study, practice, and succeed. These are those skills that are so important for students to actually complete college, not just attend, but to persist and complete.
Right. So was AVID in place when you became the principal at Creekside?
It was. AVID has been there for a decade.
So were you familiar with AVID when you arrived? Is it something you had interacted or intersected with before?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been a proponent, and now your school is a nationally acclaimed, recognized AVID school.
Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give to other administrators in this district and others that are contemplating AVID? What's the cost of I don't mean the financial cost.
No, of course.
But the cost of organizing and arranging the work to have an AVID program in your school?
I think it's just that. It's the way that you perceive and you think about AVID. AVID is not a program. It is not a one-size-fits-all. It is not giving teachers something else to do. AVID gives you a set of strategies that are already research-based strategies in those areas of Wicker. It does not change what teachers teach. It actually helps to impact how they teach. And we want to push teachers to expose students to rigorous academic environments. We want to walk into classrooms and hear that student discourse, the higher levels of questioning, because then we know scholars are what? Learning. That is what AVID is about. AVID is about giving students the skills so that they're successful in college and career. We say that every day. So if you truly believe in that mission, then AVID will work for you.
Have you seen any research or data at your school specifically that says if a student is engaged in AVID, that the probability of them graduating high school has been increased?
Well, I'll tell you this, 100% over the last decade, 100% of our AVID students graduate, and they graduate on time.
100%?
100%.
That's some really strong data, isn't it?
Yes. Okay.
So, Maggie, I want to ask you this. You're at the middle school level. The schools that feed Crabapple Middle School, are they AVID schools as well?
They are not yet.
Okay.
But I think that they are open to that because we do have elementary schools in Fulton that are implementing AVID strategies school-wide. It looks different at the elementary school. It's not an elective, right? But all teachers are using the strategies to help teach student agency, opportunity knowledge, and rigorous academic.
So I'm glad that you mentioned student agency again. I was going to try to dig into that a little bit. So what does student agency look like for a sixth grader?
It's knowing how confident you feel before an assessment and what are you confused about, right? Like there's so many times we might say, oh, I just hate this class. It's so hard. The teacher doesn't help me. Well, what is your question? It's hard to formulate that question as a student. It's very hard to say, well, what do I know? And where did I get stuck? And that's my point of confusion. And how can I put that into words that my peers can understand using the key vocabulary I've been taught? So that's a skill that we learn in AVID is how do I advocate for myself? How do I state the question clearly so that I get the answer I'm looking for? And as going along with advocating for yourself, students are learning how to email their teachers and say, I need some more time with you, or I don't understand blank. Can you help me with this? We just think that kids know how to do these things, and they really don't. How to craft an email, how to approach an adult and ask for what you need help with. Managing yourself, your time, your materials, that's a part of student agency. So we have an AVID organization system. We have a binder system. We teach time management with planners, digital or paper planner. So they're learning how to reduce that stress going from 1 or 2 elementary teachers to 7 to 8 middle school teachers and going, okay, I've got practice tonight. I've got this test tomorrow. I have a project in 2 days. How do I plan this? And so they're learning those skills to help build that confidence and reduce the anxiety about school.
So I'm going to ask you a personal question,
Okay.
professional/personal.
Okay.
How has being an AVID teacher changed how you go about the work?
Oh, gosh. AVID has changed my life completely. I think every teacher, when they truly understand AVID, they would say, this is why I became a teacher, right? It's not, yes, we love our content, but it's about building up humans, right? Building up a person to say, I can do it. I'm capable of taking this difficult course. So it's just changed the way I view learning. For myself too. Like if I want to learn something, I have strategies. I know how to take notes. I know how to ask questions. So I think it's given me more of a student-focused perspective rather than a standards and content-focused perspective. Is how is the student perceiving this? Am I giving them the support they need to be successful? And are my expectations high enough that they can have that sense of pride when they reach the goal? Right. So it's a great combo of high expectations with support.
So where did AVID originate? What's the history of this transformational strategy approach to helping students have agency, self-agency? Where did this idea come from?
I can tell you the story. Do you want to take it, Doctor?
You can tell the history of the 4 to 5 years. I'll let you do that.
Well, AVID was created by a language arts teacher in San Diego, California, Mary Catherine Swanson. She started it in 1980 when her district was going through rezoning. And there was a group of lower income students that were being brought to her school. And she overheard her peers, her colleagues, talking about how they would have to lower the expectations for those students just because of the neighborhoods they were coming from. And she was like, I don't understand how this is a connection. How does student achievement relate to that? I think that if we raise the expectation and we provide the support, they will be able to meet the goals. And so she did that, and she did that based on Wicker. These are the skills they need to learn. So I'm going to teach them those skills. And when her students were graduating on time and taking those AP courses and doing all the things that the more affluently neighborhood kids were doing, it caught on, right? And teachers were like, wow, look at this. So yeah, now it's in all 50 states. It's international. I would say probably 1 million students by now have been positively.
So Dr. Owalk, let me ask you this. You have how many, 100 teachers plus building?
100 teachers.
So how does a teacher become an AVID trained teacher?
So it's a train-the-trainer model, right? We do send teachers out to get training. We were just talking about that. But the continuous training happens in the building with our support staff. So our instructional coaches and department chairs train throughout the year on those Wicker strategies that we've identified that we're going to focus on year to year. Things like focused note-taking, marking the text, higher level questioning, helping teachers develop those questions so that they're prepared to give that rigorous experience. But also, I love the point of support. You have to have high expectations, but as long as you support students with reaching that, when they get there, they're going to feel awesome. They're going to be confident. We want to have confident students.
Right. Well, it sounds like a really transformational program. Obviously, 100% graduation rate over the last 10 years at Creekside High School for the students that participated in the AVID. You're on fire with AVID. Thank both of you so much for joining me today.
Thank you
It's been
for
a very interesting and informative conversation. Folks, thank you for joining another edition of Let's Talk Schools. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And now, let's go around the district in 90 seconds. That's it for our show this week. Let's keep this conversation going. We'd love to hear from you on our social media platforms. Join us next time on Let's Talk Schools, and thank you for watching.